Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to a Media Matters special for Anfield Index. This is about as special as it gets, ladies and gents, because we are international. We are international with a YouTube patch journalist superstar, Steele, coming to us live from the Allianz Arena. How is life out in Germany right now, Lewis?
It's beautiful. I've not managed to get myself a bratwurst yet, and I'm going to save having a nice German beer until after the game. But I'm here to watch Germany, Portugal in the Nations League, and maybe keeping an eye on one person in particular who may be playing tonight and maybe coming to Liverpool at some point in the near future.
Brill. And it's even better that we can just see people walking around with bratwurst and all sorts, people cheering as we're talking right now. So we'll get straight into it, Lewis. And there's a couple of things I want to ask you, because a bit of a Q&A was done by yourself, wasn't it, a little bit earlier around lunchtime before you boarded your flight? So before we get into specifics around players, what was the best question on the Q&A?
Very good. Well, I got asked if I had 30 minutes to prepare against the polar bear who's walking to my house, what would I do to prepare and how would I beat him? So I never actually answered that, but it's one that's been going through my head all day. But yeah, lots of good questions on Liverpool as well, obviously.
Yeah, which we'll get into aside from all the polar bear talk. So I think the best way for this is just to fire it at you. And there's only one place to start. The man that you're watching and the one we're all going to be watching on Amazon Prime. Lewis, you teased us on this in like the story in this Daily Mail. Florian Wirtz, 99% done. Are we 99.1% done, advancing on that at all?
I'm just keeping my eye on the pitch here because the Germany players are coming out to just have a walk around. So we'll see if he comes out in a minute, and we can ask him himself if it's 99.1. But yeah, I've been speaking to people in Germany all day, and the word that I had from two different people was 99% done. So that's why I wrote it like that. I mean, from the Liverpool end, I think it's maybe not quite 99 because we do have to agree to fee, but it's certainly heading in the direction of signing for Liverpool and just keeping an eye out to see if he's walking onto the pitch. But it seems like everyone but him is on the pitch at the moment.
It's interesting because I know you said that the sources in Germany. It's from the people that you talk to in Germany. Is the surprise that Wirtz is heading to Liverpool potentially? Because it seemed like when we talked a couple of weeks ago, it was a faint hope, wasn't it? It was Bayern, but maybe. But now we've seen full change. It's like, how's that been received in Germany?
Yeah, well, I've spent about an hour and a half outside the ground talking to people actually. And to be honest, about 90% of them said I don't speak very good English, so they didn't speak. But the ones that I did manage to get a chat with, they were all saying, "Oh, we're a bit gutted that he's leaving Germany." I don't know whether that's because they're Bayern fans or what, but you'd imagine with this game being in Munich, a lot of the people will be Bayern fans. But I think they are a bit gutted. But I spoke to a guy who works at Bild, the big German newspaper, and he was saying basically he's very surprised that he's gone to Liverpool or going to Liverpool because it seemed obvious for 2 or 3 years that he was going to go to Bayern. So he thinks it's very good for... This guy's not a Bayern fan, I suppose he's a Germany fan as well as whatever club, but he was just happy that he's going abroad because he thinks it's going to push him out of his comfort zone a bit and he'll only get better. Whereas if he came to Bayern, he'd just be with all his pals from the national team. So I think the view in Germany is pretty split on whether they like it or not. I think it's a bit like maybe if Jude Bellingham was playing in a smaller Premier League club before Real rather than Dortmund, we might think, oh, it's a shame that we can't watch him every week. But it's a bit like that. But also I think they're glad that he's not going to Bayern, or certainly the non-Bayern fans there.
It's a positive, yeah. Fingers crossed that we get some news on that one. And the other one, which you also wrote about before boarding the flight, it looks like, or maybe it was just afterwards, who knows? Another name to get excited about here, Milos Kerkez. Now, if we're saying Wirtz is 99% done, are we coming down in percentage? Are we hopeful or going up with this one?
No, it's about the same. I'd say that they just have to agree a fee. So I spoke to someone I know around Bournemouth, texting them this morning, and they said, "Listen, Bournemouth still want their 45 million, and they will dig in for it. But there was a bit of a realisation on their part that they might have to shake hands at 40 with some decent add-ons. You know, if he wins the Prem, then it'll go up to 45, that sort of thing. But I think this one's been quite obvious for a while now. It's not even a saga. It's just a when, not if it'll happen. So I think, yeah, Kerkez will be a Liverpool player soon, definitely. Whether it gets officially confirmed in this small June window, I'm not sure, but it'll certainly be, through the door for the start of the pre-season tour. So.
I was going to ask you because, I mean, we talked about it before. It's weird the way the transfer window splits. This transfer window one, let's call it that, till the 10th of June. Is the real expectation from what you're hearing that there will be these two coming in before that day, or do you think it could run over into the next stage, if you want to call it that?
I'm not sure, really. I don't think Liverpool are too bothered about it. I think the main target for this window was to get the money for the Trent deal. But it doesn't really bother Liverpool whether they officially become players on June the 5th, let's say, or July the 1st when it reopens, because they don't start training again until the second week of July. So it doesn't really matter. And they're certainly not going to rush a deal and do a deal for 5 million more just to get it done. Because they can still negotiate after the window closes. It just won't become official till the window reopens. But yeah, I think obviously we're watching Wirtz tonight. The Nations League finals on Sunday, so maybe next week it'll accelerate. But also Germany could lose tonight, and that would be their campaign over. So, and then Kerkez is on international duty as well, so we'll see what happens with him. But I think both of them will get done. It's just maybe it won't be in the next 2 days, but if it's not, I wouldn't worry about it. It will happen.
Yeah, it does. As you've written, it feels like when, not if, more than anything. And you mentioned a few players there in your Q&A, and this name's become hot. Quite a few of your Patch Journal colleagues have mentioned Luis Diaz today, and almost a suggestion that Liverpool are confused, dumbfounded a little bit, as one written around these stories around Luis Diaz. But with that, though, we've heard a lot recently. We've talked about Luis Diaz. Barcelona, Saudi clubs are in the mix. Liverpool, it seems quite clear, though, they're not going to offer him a new deal. So that does raise question marks, doesn't it, on a 28-year-old with 2 years left to go?
Yeah, I mean, I think I said last time I was on, the talk of his new contract is a bit premature because I don't think that is in the offing. I mean, he definitely wants a new contract in his camp with him, but I don't think Liverpool are going to offer him anytime soon, or talks aren't going to open anytime soon. But yeah, I mean, I think the state of play of Diaz is Liverpool don't want to sell him, and yeah, he's always linked away, isn't he? But that's the thing. That's some of those links as well. I think he's had a decent season this season. Obviously, there's still room for improvement, but decent. So I think Liverpool would be fools for selling. And realistically, I can't see Barca paying enough money to get him. And Al Nasser, I don't think that he'd want to go there. So I think that I'd be surprised. I think I wrote in the Q&A, I'm leaning towards Diaz staying at Liverpool now, and I'd probably be that's probably got even more strong as the days go on. So I'd be surprised if he's not in a Liverpool shirt next season.
Will be interesting to see. And I've got to ask you about this because when I first saw this, I dismissed it. But I know you'd written that there is interest on this side. And now that we're talking about Munich, Cody Gakpo, Bayern Munich, seems to be interest there. Is that genuine? I mean, I think everyone just assumes Gakpo will be staying, but is there interest from Munich in Cody Gakpo?
Yeah, it's true. They do like Cody Gakpo, but I don't think he's not going to go there. So I think that's it's true, but he's not going to go. So that's the end of the story for me. Really, I think. So I'd be very, very, very surprised if he does go. I mean, obviously, buying from him a massive, massive offer, then Liverpool might look at it, but there's no indication from Gakpo or Liverpool side that he's going anywhere this summer. But yeah, it's true, apparently, from what I'm told.
Interesting. I mean, there's plenty more. And probably the final one, because I know you mentioned this name before and it's there in the headline. Liverpool are being linked with various Wirtz, aren't they? Like Nico Williams, Goncalo Ramos has come up. Liverpool still seem active for another attacker, don't they, after Florian Wirtz?
Yeah, I think the noise that I had last week before I went on holiday for a few days was after Wirtz is wrapped up, they will turn their attention to signing a forward or a number 9. It's gone a little bit quiet since then. Nico. Someone asked me about Nico Williams, and I said I think they've watched him. I think they like him, but I think that's the end of it, really. And I've not heard anything to suggest that they will step up their interest in him, and I've not heard anything on Gonzalo Ramos either. Really, I've not had a flat out denial, but can't really see either of them at the moment.
Yeah. And the final one I'll ask you around sort of transfers and contracts. There seem to be, I don't know if it is better news, but Ibu Kanate and apparently his agent discussing it with the club. Is that hopeful? Is there any more progression in that area at all?
Maybe. I'm not sure. If you ask me again next time I'm on, I might have a more definitive answer on that one. But the last time I checked, they were going to have talks after the season, so I need to check on that.
Fingers crossed then, back in the UK, or maybe we'll be continental again. Who knows? We'll have to see on this.
Maybe I'll be in Hungary watching Kerkez.
Fingers crossed, yeah, the jet setters and how they live. So, the final part of the pod, Lewis, I know I've briefed you for this, a bit of the season reviews. There's going to be some quick fire questions to finish last season coming your way and getting your thoughts on how you see last season. So, honesty's needed with a bit of reflection as well. So, question number 1, being honest, Arne Slot, when he arrived at Anfield and you met him for that first press conference at the AXA, what did you honestly expect of Liverpool seasons? What did you think were realistic for them?
I thought they'd finished 4th, 3rd or 4th. And then as I see, when we got to about October, I revised that. But before the ball was kicked, I thought for Champions League, and that would have been a good season. I thought Arsenal were going to win the league, to be honest, but there we go.
Wow, yeah, how things can change by October, definitely. And going for the whole season, and obviously he's dealing with international clients there as well. But for the season just gone, who's impressed you the most? Everyone usually says Mo Salah, but is it anyone else for you?
Virgil van Dijk, actually, because he's upped his game. He's been a perfect captain. I think without him, Liverpool would be nothing this season. So he's my player of the season, which is a bit rogue, I would say. But yeah, Virgil for me.
Interesting. Sometimes different for every journalist as well. What's been your favourite Liverpool moment of the season so far?
Well, from a professional point of view, probably like speaking to Salah for the first time. It's quite weird. But mainly just overall, just following Slot's journey. I think me and him, I wouldn't say we're like mates or anything like that, but he seems to have respect for the journalists, and we've had a good few back and forth and some banter and stuff. So it's been good fun following that over the course of the season.
Nice. And I was going to ask you because it seems like, and I could be wrong on this, there's been more interaction than ever from players and management in that mix zone. What's been your favourite mix zone moment so far?
Well, I think it's a weird one because when you cover Liverpool every week and you see the players up close, you sort of forget that they're famous people. They're just like normal people that you'd see in the office at work.
Yeah.
So, in that regard, I suppose like when a big club like Real Madrid were in town and you saw them, I saw it was like, oh wow, there's Luka Modric, there's Kylian Mbappe, there's Carlo. So I suppose it was speaking to the foreign players that I forgot the famous in the mix zone, if that makes sense.
We'll just ignore all the name dropping and the fact we're doing this from the International Stadium Munich and all those things. But yeah, it makes sense. It's good bragging as well. And from all the matches that you've seen, was there a performance or a result which you think punctuated this season? When you look back, did you think that was Liverpool performance or a key moment?
I would say the best performance of the season for me in that regard was probably the win at the Etihad. Just in terms of blown away with a couple of goals, and then City didn't play badly that day. They played quite well actually. But Liverpool just really contained them. Obviously, it wasn't the most fun performance. That would probably be more like a Real Madrid or Leverkusen or something like that. But that was probably the one that I thought, wow, this team means business.
Was that the performance when you thought this is it? Because everyone remembers 1920, don't they? When Salah whipped his top off and scored 2-0 against United. Was it the City win at Etihad, or did you think actually earlier they're going to win it?
I thought for a few weeks, to be honest, that they were going to win it. Or I thought from quite early on in the season they were going to win it, to be honest. Hold on, I think some guy's about to kick me out of my seat. Are you meant to be sat here? Are you meant to be sat here? I'm meant to here. I'm meant to be 89. There's a C. Where's A? Do you know? Okay. I moved. Okay, you sure? Okay, thank you. I'm back.
Look at that. Name-dropping players, international stars, and negotiating with journalists on a live podcast. We bring it all for you.
Yeah, I'm sat in his seat, so but we've shaken on.
Good stuff. Yeah. That is power for you. And few more questions to ask. This is an interesting one. No one's agreed on this so far. Who's been Liverpool's unsung hero so far?
On the slot, I would say it's maybe a weird one, but the guy who's just left, Johnny Heitinga. When you speak to the players, they all say, "Oh wow, Johnny Heitinga! He's shown me things that I didn't know about myself." So obviously, Slot's taken all the credit, and rightly so. But Sipko Schuff and Johnny Heitinga and the other guys, Alan Briggs and that. The players love him, so I think that he'd be my shout. But obviously, as well, I'd go Endo just for his little performances off the bench. Really saw out some big wins.
Nice. And the final question I'm lying. Two more I've got for you. But everyone knows about Kerkez, Wirtz, and Frimpong. If you were on a slot, Richard Hughes, or involved in that, what other positions would you personally target this summer?
Well, I mean, when they've signed Wirtz, it's going to be over 200 million in spend already this summer, especially if you count Mamanashvili. So, firstly, I'd be on the phone to Mike Edwards to see what my budget is. But if it was an unlimited budget, I'd be signing a number 9, just because I think a lot of the games, even when Liverpool won, they didn't blow teams away. It was a 1-0, it was a 2-0 sort of thing. I think that is what can take them to the next level. So I'd go straight into number 9. Then I'd get a defender as well, just as a little long-term Virgil replacement.
Quite a bit of business to do in window 1. And if we do that business, we'll have to see. But moving into next season, is it realistic that Liverpool should be looking at the 2 biggest prizes in the Champions League and the title? Is that a fair estimation if we get the likes of Wirtz?
Yeah, I think Liverpool have to go into it's going to be different. Liverpool have to go into the season of title favourites now for me. And they will. So that's going to be different because this season's been a lot of, no one really expected them to do it. No one expected the other teams to drop off the way that they did, City and Arsenal. But yeah, they'll go in his favourites. But I think they should have their eyes on winning it again. Champions League, I think they're just as good, if not maybe just slightly behind PSG at the moment. So obviously, Real will get better, but I think they've got to at least try and get to at least the semi this year. But I think they should be trying to win it. I think they can win everything. Just win it, they're good enough to. So why not? And for stars, as I say.
And the final question, because I know we're competing against the stadium announcer in Munich now, so the final one. The 10th of June, 7 p.m. at window shorts. Is it right? Nothing's guaranteed, but is it fair that we could expect there we land, here we go, or something to develop? We need to keep our eyes peeled, don't we?
What day of the week is the 10th? Maybe. I think so. Yeah, I think we could. Yeah, I think we could get here we go before next Tuesday. Yeah. But if it doesn't happen, don't worry, because it will happen. But yeah, I think we could. I need to get my own version of that, don't I? My own, here we go.
Yeah, all suggestions welcome, ladies and gents. We'll see what you come up with. But we know he's busy. We know he's an international superstar. We know he's watching Florian Wirtz for us. So all that leaves me to say is, for a very busy Lewis Steele, Lewis, it is much appreciated as ever.
It's been a pleasure. I can't quite hear you as well anymore because you've started playing music, but it's been a pleasure as ever, my friend.
Good stuff. And ladies and gents, that was another Media Matters at Anfield Index.